Good evening, Mom. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I was happy today because we had a beautiful day and the sun's shining, and I'm just really happy.
Well, I'm glad you're happy. That makes me happy. And I'm also happy to see Blue, Ridge, Paige, and Fox, my tender pups, out there playing with Champ and Jesse and Chad and Ben and Kendall.
Oh yes, they're having a fun time out there playing. I love to watch them.
I take a glance out there once in a while, and you can see Blue and Fox. They're looking for me. They're wanting me to come out there.
Oh yes, you have spoiled those little puppies, but they're so cute. You can't help from doing it.
When we first got here, Ridge didn't even want to go into your house. I mean, he didn't want to go into the back gate into the yard with Jesse. He wanted to come into the house to see you.
Oh yeah, I love him. He's just so sweet, and he just loving little pup, and I just love him.
Every time he comes in here, he runs straight to your lap and jumps up in it.
And he won't get down either. You just have to almost pick him up and put him down because he just wants to sit there with me, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, and he likes it when we massage his shoulders. I just saw Chad walk by. He looks like the Pied Piper. All four tender pups were following him, and then Ben was running and following him.
That's so funny to watch them. They just play and have fun.
Mom, today is April the 22nd, and it's a Wednesday evening, and I wanted to talk to you about longevity or living a long life, or however you want to put it. And, your parents lived a long life, and your brothers and sisters, and I just wanted to talk to you about that topic, if that's okay.
Oh, that's okay. I'd love to. Well, to start with, just about all of my family that's deceased, they have lived a long life and a happy one, it just makes me happy to keep my family with me a long time.
Yeah, they lived to be in their 90s.
Yeah. Mom was, I think, 93, and Dad was about 90-some. Most of them lived to be in their 90s.
What I wanted to ask you about is if you had to pick the number one thing that helps you live a long, happy, healthy life, what would that be?
Well, first of all, it'd be God. And then you'd have to watch your weight and eat the right food and take your exercise, and that makes you feel good, and you can stay a lot healthier if you do that.
I've always loved it when you say take your exercise. Where am I taking it?
Well, do your exercise.
I know. I love it when you say that.
I know.
So I'm not correcting you. I'm actually laughing with you. I've loved it when you say take your exercise.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. Take your exercise.
I'll tell you one thing. I've been someone that, to me, exercising, working out almost makes me feel like a little kid. So to me, that's my selfish time, and I love exercising. How many times have I come over to your house and tell you that I got up at 5 or 4 in the morning or whatever and did my workout before I came over?
Oh, just about every morning you do that. Maybe you miss one or two mornings, but you always tell me what time you get up to do your exercise.
Now, what do you think about happiness and laughing or being a grumpy person? Do you think that has any impact on your health?
Oh yes, I think if you stay upset and mad at someone and you just feel unhappy about it. If someone don't like you and they try to do wrong things to you, well, you just go on and pray about it and do not fight with them, and it'll make you feel so much better. And even if you'll say a prayer about it and ask God to guide you and let help you help them.
Mom, I agree with you. A lot of times people, they just want to be right. And sometimes when they're really young, people think that being right matters. I feel that being right is not always healthy and popular. Sometimes you just, whether you know you're right or not, you let it go, you pray about it, and you just don't hold on to things because actually holding on to grudges and things like that and having negative, toxic people in your life, it really makes you unhealthy.
Yes, it does. And I've always believed to not live in the past, to look for the future. And I know I like to think about my loved ones, it's past and things like that. But just to keep something, going and upset about it and everything, it's not a good thing. You should just let it go and pray about it and be happy.
Some people say things like, I can't believe so-and-so was mean to me for no reason. I mean, how could you not believe it? Because there's a lot of different people in this world, and some people are the people that do all the hurt. I think they're the ones that are damaged themselves. They're hurt people, and they want to hurt others because they're hurt, and that's the only way they know.
Yeah, the people like that, they just like to hurt people, and they don't care how they do it. And it just only hurts themselves. And if the person they're hurting will just let it go and not fight back with them or say words, bad words to them, and just let it go and just laugh about it and just walk off.
And there's something to be said for that old saying, consider the source, because those are not just words. If you can set yourself free literally by just when somebody, let's say that there's a negative person or a toxic person, maybe they're not in your direct life, but maybe you have to deal with them a little bit. Maybe it's work or whatever. The best thing to do is to completely not let them affect you emotionally, because when they don't affect you anymore, it makes you feel so good. Plus, they know they're not affecting you, so they end up stopping because they know no matter what they do, it's not going to affect you.
Well, I think a lot of this stuff is jealousy. I think if this one person is smarter or, does more things or better at their work and the other person's not, I think what this comes to is jealousy.
Mom, that is a really good point. I never really thought about it like that, but that's true. A lot of times people can be very jealous of other people, and the people that they're jealous of, they just perceive them to be a certain way, whereas the person they're jealous of, they may have all kinds of issues in their life that no one knows about because they just don't go around talking about it. Me, for one, I'm a private person. I don't like to, talk about things that bother me, and I like to pray about them. And if someone comes to me and says, well, give me some advice, what do you think? The first thing I'm going to do is say, let's pray about it. Because if someone doesn't pray with you and they give you advice, then you need to run, because it's not going to be good advice.
That is true. I would not fool with that person if they didn't want to pray with me and try to straighten things out, because they know that it's wrong. They know it's wrong, but they, still want to hurt you.
I found that a lot of people, the reason they don't want to pray is I think they don't want to pray because they're kind of ashamed to talk to God, because they know that they're doing things wrong. And how can you pray when you are intentionally doing things wrong over and over and over?
I just don't know. That's the way people are. But I tell you, if they would pray and ask God forgiveness, and they would be a lot better person.
I know something else you told me a long time ago. You told me that, and there's also Bible verses that talk about you'll live a long life if you honor your parents.
Oh, yeah. Just honor your parents, and you will live a lot longer, because I think your parents is to be respected, and the children should always do as they say, but not tell them when they get grown to go to this school or that school. I always let mine decide for themselves, and then I think about it, and they're always right if they, they're happy after they do it.
That's very true. And, back to when someone comes to you with a problem, sometimes you can tell people all you want to tell them, but I think sometimes people really have to live and have that life experience to be able to understand the concept of letting it go and not letting anybody affect you with their words.
That is true. I would, they should just let things like that go, and just that will make them feel a lot better, and pray, and ask God for guidance, and He will.
I didn't really get off the topic a lot, but a little bit. When we were talking about people that are hard to get along with, there's a term, and it's a true term. Even psychiatrists use it. It's called gaslighting. And people that gaslight people, the term came from this old movie about this man that was intentionally it was probably back in the 50s, and he was trying to drive his wife crazy, and the lights would flicker, and he'd tell her that they weren't. And anyway, so they decided to call this term gaslighting. But it's when somebody tries to make you, somebody that's in your life, they try to make you doubt yourself. They say really smart aleck things to you, and they just hurt your feelings over and over and over. And they may not even directly say something to you. They kind of slide it underneath so that you'll think, well, wonder what they meant by that. They make you doubt everything, yourself, people in your life, your abilities, and they call that gaslighting. And I have actually known people that participate in gaslighting.
I have too, and I think that is wrong, and I don't know I think they know better. That just, that they just want to hurt people.
The people that do the gaslighting, they're very weak. They try to pretend like they're real strong people, but they're really weak people, and only weak people go around acting like that. I think strong people are kind people, and a lot of times kind people are mistaken as a weak person, and it's just not the truth.
That is true. People like that, I wouldn't have any dealings with them. But if I, met them somewhere or something, they started something like that, being mean and criticizing and that all leads to jealousy.
Yes, it does. You remember the quote books, the Blue Ridge Moments books that I wrote? They were my quotes with stories and Bible verses and photos. One of my topics in there was about this subject, and I went into detail about what I thought about it. So I'm kind of glad we touched on that. Now let's get back to the health. What do you think about foods? Do you think, like, if there's a group of healthy foods, do you think those healthy foods are good for just anybody, or what do you think about food?
Well, foods are not good for anybody. You have to eat the right foods, and some foods don't agree with other people, with everybody. So I'm not a meat person. I like chicken or turkey, something, but beef, I do not eat it. But, but you should eat vegetables if you can. They are healthy foods, and I think that you could lose weight and not eat a lot of snacks and sweets. Sweets is absolutely not good for you.
True, and I think they're okay once in a while, like, for a birthday or this or that.
Yes. I eat a piece of pie or something. Billy made me the best pineapple upside-down cake, and I had a big slice of it today, and it was so good. And you can eat, something like that once in a while, but I would not eat a lot of junk.
Not every day.
Not every day, I would not.
And, fruit is really good for you, and you can question this, especially if you're a diabetic, so I don't want this statement to be held in stone. But sugar is really not bad for you if it comes from whole foods like fruits. The kind of sugar that's bad is refined sugar, the fake sugar, what they do to it, and also what people put with the sugar, like flour and this and that. So, fruits and vegetables, like you said, are awesome for you.
That is true. And another thing is not good for you, a lot of salt. You should not eat a lot of salt. You should just eat what you put in your food, because it will cause high blood pressure.
True. I don't eat any salt at all. And unless it just came in the food that I have. But it's very unusual if I cook anything that's not a whole food. Like, there's some vegetables that I cannot eat raw. I have to cook them because my body won't tolerate them. But as long as they're cooked, I can have them. So I think you're right in saying that just because something's labeled as a healthy food, it's got to be agreeable to that individual person.
Oh, yes, you have to eat the right, the right vegetable and the right meats and everything, and that will make you a lot healthier.
And you cannot out exercise calories, so you've got to eat the right amount of food and the right amount of calories, because working out's great, but you can't work out enough to outdo too many calories constantly.
Because you wear what you eat.
That's true, and you also crave what you eat.
Oh, yes, you do. I've always told people that, and they just look at me. They look at me and think, nah.
It's true. If it takes about 2 weeks to turn a bad habit around, and so if you've got a bad habit, you can turn it around in a couple of weeks. I mean, you can turn it around in a couple of days, but after a couple of weeks, you kind of own it then. You've beat your bad habit.
Oh, yeah. And just, you can start out by just slacking off, not completely, quit everything. It's not good for you. You can eat a little bit of this or sweets or something like that, a small amount. And I've been told a lot that when you get a plate of food out, if you just eat half of the plate of food and leave the other half, and I've tried it and it works.
Yes, it does. I'll tell you something else I've always noticed you doing. You always put your food on one of those, it's not a real plate, it's the next step down. It's like a saucer.
Yes, I do that because I don't want to overeat. And at night, on my dinner, I try not to eat just a small amount of stuff. And you sleep better, and you don't have reflux if you have that. And it just really, really makes you sleep better.
You know what helps me sleep at night? You won't believe me when I tell you this.
What?
I know everybody thinks it's gross, but they're pasteurized just like if you bought milk. I drink pasteurized egg whites about 8 ounces before I go to sleep, about an hour, and I sleep really well when I drink them. When I don't drink them, I don't sleep well.
Oh, boy, that sounds good. I mean, if you can do that and tolerate them, I don't think I could tolerate those egg whites, but I would try it, but they're real healthy and good for you.
Yeah, they have a lot of protein, but also they have a little bit of a salty taste. But what I do is I put a splash of anything that I like in it, and it just gives it a flavor, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and the way you cook is really good. You don't cook a lot of spicy foods and all that stuff. I just don't go for spicy foods. I just don't think they're good for you.
Yeah, you can flavor a food without making it overly spicy to where it's unhealthy. Like, some people really like spicy foods, but there's some people that cannot tolerate them. I kind of cook in the middle. My food that I cook has flavor, but it's not spicy to where it's sickening.
That's true. Your food is always good, and it's never too hot, spicy to eat, and I enjoy everything you cook.
And it's got a lot of flavor, It doesn't taste bland either, especially those soups that I make you. I love the Sicilian chicken soup.
Oh, yeah, I love it too. I just love everything you fix because you're such a good cook.
Well, Mom, so are you. Somehow we ended up in the kitchen again talking about food.
Yes, that's what we do.
But that's one of our favorite topics, I guess. But I guess I want to reiterate that I like to cook whole foods. Blend them, cook them, drink them, eat them, whatever. But, once in a while, of course, I like to make, those homemade brownies I make, or I'll make homemade cookies or something once in a while, or we have a birthday cake for somebody.
Oh, those brownies is delicious. I love them. I'll eat them, but not, maybe 1 or 2 a day or something like that. And the other cookie, what's the name of that you made?
Well, I call them sugar cookies, but they taste more like a shortbread. They don't have a lot of sugar in them, and I cut them in squares, and they're really neat-looking cookies, aren't they?
Yes, they are, and they taste so good. The baby here, he'll cry for one, and the 2 babies, and we all love them.
So even though they might have sugar in them, the good thing is they're not something you buy at a store that has a bunch of preservatives in them. And I'll tell you the way I preserve cookies and brownies and things so you don't eat too many at one time. I'll eat what I want when I make it, and I put the rest in a container and put it in the freezer And I make sure they're cut up so you can get one. You know, you don't have a big block of something frozen. But I'll just get one out as I want it and defrost it or put it in the microwave for a few seconds. And that way you don't have to worry about eating something before it goes dry. You can freeze it.
Oh, yes, I do the same thing. And after it thaws out and you warm it up, it tastes exactly like the way when she bakes it.
Right. You know, Linda, my oldest sister, just had a birthday in March. And I told Linda, she said, what am I going to do with all this cake? I said, take it home and cut it into pieces, put it in a container and put it in the freezer. And when you want a piece, get a piece out and defrost it. And she told me, she said, that's the greatest idea. And she said, I want you to know, I even like it better that way.
Oh, yeah, it tastes the same to me. I like it that way.
So if people tell you that they ate it all because they didn't want it to go bad, that's a bunch of lies.
Yeah, that is. And I'm sure they gained some weight, too.
Probably. Well, think about this. You know, people think, well, just gaining a couple of pounds a year is nothing. But gain a couple of pounds and then multiply it by 20 years, you got 40 pounds.
Oh, my goodness. I never thought about that. But I try not to gain any weight. I try to just keep myself the same. So if I gain some, I'll cut down on my food.
You know what some people do? They eat exactly the same thing every day because they say, well, if I don't change anything, nothing's going to change, so I'm not going to gain weight.
That is not true.
It's boring.
Yes, it is. I don't know why people would think that.
I couldn't eat like that.
No, I couldn't either. I've got to have something different, because I would get tired of, I don't know, though. I wouldn't get tired of your food.
Oh, Mom, thank you. Well, so what do you think about being out in the sunshine and getting outside? Do you think that makes a difference, the vitamin D you get from the sun?
Oh, it's okay if you put on your sun tan lotion and get out in the sun, and that would help you absorb your vitamin C. And then swimming and any exercises or anything you can do outside, that will help.
So what you're saying is go ahead and get in the sun to get your vitamin D, but don't overdo it and get burnt.
That's right.
Use your sunscreen, but get the vitamin D. And, a lot of people, they will go outside just to stay out of depression.
Oh, yeah, and they say that works, too, that just lay there in the sun and relax, maybe read a book or something and get away from everyone. I've heard that it really works.
What do you think about as far as another thing to help you live a long life? I believe in this, but you may not. I don't go get massages or anything. I really just don't take the time. But I feel like if there's been many times I've sat down and I've massaged your hands, certain points on your hands and your feet, and those endorphins just flow through your body and they make you feel relaxed. Do you feel like massages help with how you feel?
Oh, yes, I love that. I believe in that. I believe in massages, and it really relaxes you and makes you feel so much better.
And I think taking walks is really important, too. You don't have to walk fast, even if you're walking your dog or just taking a leisurely walk by yourself. I think walking is very important.
Oh, I do too. I think anyone should take a walk every day of the evening when the sun goes down, if it's hot outside, and just walk slow or, ever how they want to walk, and that helps so much.
I agree with you. And, I think that, if you like a certain sport, then play it. Just like, if you like to swim, go swimming. And if you are going to build a house and swimming's real important to you, maybe you should build yourself a really small pool inside, just big enough for you to be able to swim. You've got to do what you like and be happy if you can do it. You've got to find a way to be able to do the goals that you want to do in your everyday life.
I think swimming is a good exercise, and it's healthy too. And I think in a way, you ought to take vitamins too if you need them. I take vitamins, and it makes me feel a lot better.
Yes, especially if you don't eat, if you don't eat a lot of meat, you can get low iron or you can get low B12 and things like that. But you're right about that. So what else do you think? Do you think What do you think about having friends and family? Do you think that adds to your healthiness and your long life?
Oh, yes. I think your family, you should get together at least once a week on a weekend, if you possibly can, and play games and have, eat together. Now, we had a girls' night. On Thursday night, I think it was, or Friday. And we all had so much fun, and it just seemed like everybody was so much happier playing games and laughing, and we had food, pizza, and everything. And one of the girls asked me not long ago if we could go back doing it.
I think that'd be a great idea when all this other COVID-19's over.
Yeah.
So what do you think about laughter? I think laughter is really important, and to be around people that make you laugh like you make me laugh. I know I make you laugh.
Yeah. Well, I think you should go around with a smile on your face most of the time, and when you meet someone, smile, and it keeps the wrinkles out of your face, and I think it makes you live longer if you do that.
I do too, Mom, and sometimes I'll see someone somewhere. They may look like they're having a hard time or not such a great day. I saw a lady not too long ago, and I told her, I said, that is the first beautiful spring outfit I've seen this year, because she was like one of the first people I saw that was wearing something besides a coat. And she looked at me and she said, you know what? I thank you for saying that, because she said, I worried if these pants matched my top.
Oh, did she say that? Yeah. I love spring clothes and summer clothes, and winter you have to wear a big coat. And I never did like a coat too much, but I love spring and summer.
Mom, so do I. I never did like coats and a bunch of clothes. I'm one of these people that wears layers so I can take them off. I don't like wearing a big, heavy sweater. I don't like big, heavy coats. The most I wore this whole year was a dress coat or a vest. I never wore a coat like most people.
And you wasn't sick either with a cold or anything.
Thank goodness.
I can't hardly believe that, but now when it gets cold, I put my coat on. But I don't like coats, but I'll put it on because I don't want to get sick.
You look great in your coat. Plus, you usually put a sweater around your neck to keep the cold off of you.
Oh, yes. I always put a scarf around my neck and my coat and everything when I go out in the cold.
Well, now that it's springtime, you and I are going to be cruising around with the top down a little bit. What do you think about that?
Oh, that right there would really make me happy.
Every time you and I do that, we laugh and laugh and laugh.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun to get out in a convertible and just ride around and blow at people and wave at people and that just, smile and not be grumpy or anything.
There's one more thing you told me that helps you live a long life, music, and I totally agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I love music, especially rock and roll music. Now, country, not so much, but I love rock and roll music. It just makes me happy and makes me want to dance. And my brother and I think about Clint. Me and him dance together, and we'd go to these bands and all this stuff, and he loved music so much.
Now, what do you think about alcohol? That's something I never cared for.
No, I do not like alcohol at all. I like champagne once in a while.
Like at a special occasion, like a wedding or something real special?
That's right. That's the only time I drink champagne, and that's not much.
Yeah, that's like a teeny glass. Yeah. I don't drink either, and I'm not saying it's bad if someone wants to have a drink or wants to have a glass of wine with their dinner. I just don't like alcohol, and I don't see any good that would come out of alcohol. I just don't care for it.
I don't either. I just think that it ruins people's marriages, and it just causes all kinds of trouble and car wrecks and all that stuff.
A lot of times people will pretend like that they're not attached to alcohol or addicted when they are. They just won't admit it. They just, they think drinking 1 or 2 glasses of wine every night is not being, but it can turn into an addiction very quickly.
Yes, it can. You just keep on drinking it, and then you'll just want it. Every night you'll want a glass of wine or some kind of drink, and then you'll get addicted to it.
I'm so glad that you or I, neither one, have ever had any addiction to anything. Not food, not alcohol, not cigarettes, nothing. We don't smoke or drink, and, you don't have to have that to be happy and have fun.
No, you don't. I have never been like that. I've never had to drink or anything like that. I've never been addicted to anything.
I'm so glad that I've got your genes in that way. Well, is there anything else that you can think of before we stop talking about what it takes to live a long life? Also, I know you've told me before about drinking a lot of water.
Oh, yeah, you have to drink a lot of water, and it will make your skin pretty, and it will cause you to live longer.
Yeah, it keeps your kidneys really healthy.
Yes, it does.
Kidney disease is something you definitely don't want.
That's exactly right. Whenever you stop drinking your water, you start having kidney problems.
Well, Mom, is there anything else that you can think of that you want to talk about? Do you have any more comments about living a long life?
Well, just be happy and go around smiling and live for the Lord.
Well, that's perfect. And I'll tell you something Aunt Rachel used to say, your sister, she used to tell me no matter how you feel, you get up and you get dressed up.
Oh, yeah. Every morning, that woman, she never came out of her room until she looked like somebody out of a bandbox. She was so pretty. And she said, well, I said, why do you do that every morning? I do it myself. I needn't say anything. But anyway, she said, what if I get sick, Evelyn? I'd love it. Said, I don't want to go to the hospital somewhere dirty.
That's funny, but
That's what she'd say.
it's true, Mom. You do the same thing, and so do I. I mean, it doesn't matter. Even when if I, in the past when I've been sick or something, I still get up and get a shower and get ready and. Well, anyway, I've really enjoyed this talk this evening about living a long life, and I agree with everything you said, Mom. You are a very wise woman, and I respect you, love you, and trust you immensely.
Well, Billy, I've tried to live, to do what's right and everything, and I'm just thankful to God that He's let me live as long as I have.
Well, me too. And Mom, I really look forward to our next talk. And thank you so much for spending this time with me this evening. I love you.
I love you, and I enjoy every minute of it. And I will see you tomorrow. And bye for now.
I love you too, Mom. Bye for now.